All right, we'll call this meeting to order. First thing is review and approve August 19th, 2025 minutes.
Move we approve the minutes.
Second. All in favor? All right. Everything on top? Oh.
Might go with whether we post this or
Next thing, we approve September 2nd, 2025 warrant.
Motion we approve the warrant as written.
seconded.
All in favor? Next thing, TW Enterprises, tree and landscaping company, land use lease of town property. I see from the, response you got from the state, that this is an issue.
Right,
Below standards.
significantly below any threshold to public health.
Yeah.
Yep. And we also got a response from MMA saying they do believe that it should go to a town meeting, in their opinion, and said that we should consult with our attorney as to what type of a relationship that might be, if it's a lease or some kind of a use agreement or whatever.
Yeah.
So I guess that's the way forward. First step would be take, he also said we don't necessarily have to have a public hearing, but I think we should, before we ask people to vote, we ought to give them a chance to ask questions and understand what the issues are. So, at some point down the road here, before too long, we should probably have a special town, or a public hearing where they come in and present what they wanna do.
Yeah. You want, after, probably it'll have to be after town meeting.
Yeah, after town meeting, be a topic to be discussed there.
So that hearing would be more like an informal.
Yeah, it's just a public hearing where people get information about, what we would want them to vote on. Then after that, if you find out, kind of get a sense of what people think, if it looks like it's a go, then you know what to, talk to the attorney about, and what kind of a document, if we need some kind of a legal document, what we would take to the, approval of a town meeting. Several steps in there, but.
Yeah, sounds like a lengthy process.
Yeah. So I think it's a good idea to cover that out.
Yeah, what he said was that, he would, put a trail around the perimeter and then X in the middle, so there's plenty of places for people to cut back and cut through.
Yeah. Maybe, well, probably write out, have a diagram written out.
Yeah.
Of his plans to. Alright. Municipal stream crossing grant, Picnic Road. Why not? So we owe $5,693?
No.
No?
Let me see here. This is the front letter. So, this is a request to the state for, their, grant money, the $200,000. But the total project cost, is $331,483.59. And so the state will pay us the $200,000, and then we pay the $131,000, whatever. And so that's what it's asking for. This is required by the, grant. There's a whole list of things they list, and so they asked us to answer these 4 questions. They also asked that we have a certificate from a certified engineer that the project was built in accordance with the plans and specs, which, should be on there. There it is, yep. We called it with the engineer, did the final inspection. As far as I can tell from reading the terms of the grant, that's what they need to, send us the $200,000.
Okay.
And so that's what it is, it's just asking them to send us our grant money.
Okay. So do we sign it now, or? Wait.
Unless you see if there's something else there that needs, take a look at it and see.
I read through it earlier, but it's gone through the printed version.
I asked, Steve Estes or Kyle to, they would send us a bill.
Yeah.
It says that they will reimburse us for an obligation. We haven't paid it yet, but we wanna get, as soon as we get,
Yeah.
we got the bid document in there, and that's what the OSB's doing. I was just looking at what our costs were. Well, the total cost to the town is $133,000. But our seed money was, I believe it was $20,000. So, 21,000. Two?
Yep.
I have an email address, but they might just take that by email.
Okay.
All right, next thing is Pat Merrick. ATVs and Stamp On, we have a representative from.
I'm a rep from the game warden service.
Yeah.
I spoke with Kevin Joyce again, and I explained to him that he said he could not find where there was any information given that he was aware of.
Right.
So he had another patrol officer call me, who said that it was not their problem, it was the game warden's problem, and he would have the game warden call me. So he came this morning, and I'm gonna let him take over.
Okay.
So, good evening, thanks for letting me come in, Steve Siswood, I'm a resident relations game warden,
Okay.
out of Southern Maine. So, we learned, wanna say Thursday or Friday last week from the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office that there was an issue on the San Juan Road in Baldwin on, what was explained to us. It was an ATV access route, which basically connects the state land with the interconnected trails that go, that service in-town Baldwin and also, to the surrounding towns.
Yep.
So, the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office, they've received several complaints on San Juan Road about, ATV issues, speed, reckless operation, that sort of thing. I think the residents tried to call the Wooden Service, and we're dispatched to the state police, and somehow there was a disconnect there because it was on a public way. I think it was referred to the sheriff's office. So our office, the Wooden Service, never received an actual complaint. So we weren't even aware there was an issue. So when I found out, I forwarded it to Brett LeBlanc, who is the Southern Maine Trail Coordinator for Department of Agriculture and Forestry. He's the one that, he's the trail coordinator that goes out and maps all of the ATV and snowmobile trails in Southern Maine. He works closely with all the clubs to obtain grants for maintenance and equipment and to make sure that trails are safe. You know, he'll go out and do inspections, and if there's a trail that's not safe, he'll shut it down. Anytime Brett has an issue, he calls me immediately. So I got an email from a Wooden Sawyer who received an email from Cumberland County asking if there were permissions for that road. So I immediately forwarded it over to Brett. Brett got back to me within a couple of hours, said, yeah, I've spoken with the representatives from the club. There was verbal permission from the selectmen during a public meeting. They didn't want to do a vote on it. And they would address it again if there were complaints. Now, I'm sure this was probably several.
Was this just recently?
I don't think so, I'm guessing.
Okay, probably years ago.
Yeah.
So,
So,
right.
right, it was
Yeah.
a verbal agreement, and the state still honors verbal agreements. We're trying to get written agreements with everybody. That way, everyone, the landowners, the land users, understand, what the conditions are, what you can do, what you can't do, and then also, if there's a violation, you know, you could show me, as a landowner, you could show me the agreement with the club, and we could reach out to them, and if it didn't stop, then Brett obviously would shut the trail down. So we didn't get any of that information. So as soon as we found out there was an issue Friday, we came out first thing. Monday was a holiday, so Brett wasn't working, so we came out this morning and talked with the landowners, and they said that there was gonna be a meeting tonight. So we're here simply to ask, what can we do? If there's an issue, is there something you want addressed? Are you continuing with this trail? Have you guys given this permission, do you know?
No.
The select board?
They came before us last spring, last winter, asking us
About 5
to,
months ago,
asking us to approve it, San Juan Road, and Carbonell Road as trails.
Okay.
And we told them we'd take it to a public hearing first, and see what the folks would say about that, and I don't think we need to now. I think we kind of answered that question if they would approve it, you know, so as of right now, there's we
What was
haven't,
what was the other road name?
Carbonell.
Okay. And so were these trails shut down effective immediately, or?
They've been still using them. We took some signs down.
Okay.
Cause before this, there was never signs put up, but they were using them, you know, they're going down on the road, so. So, as right now, we've never given them written permission to.
Okay. So originally there was a verbal something.
Apparently, I might have been with my father and Norman, but, no one knows to. I don't know, probably not. Yeah.
So has your board received any complaints, or the town in general received any complaints on the road,
Yes.
from any other residents?
Oh, no, not any other resident, just on
Okay.
the other road.
Okay.
Carbonell Road is not populated, it's just a dirt road.
Yeah.
In fact, if you, in the middle of that road, there's an old sand pit, and there's a sign up there that says, no ATVs going in there, but then below it, there's an ATV trail sign, with an arrow pointing in, so I don't know if they have permission to be in there, or.
So it's important for Brett to get back out here as soon as he can and try and work with the club. I think from our standpoint, we need to have a meeting with the club.
Mm-hmm.
Figure out exactly what their permissions are, get the trails mapped out, and that's part of Brett's whole program is he's trying to get all these trails recorded through the state so that we, for two reasons. One, if there's ever a closure, somebody's in there logging, or, you know, you've received several complaints and the select board in the town decide they wanna shut the trail down, you notify Brett, he can do it instantly on this mapping system.
Oh, yeah.
And then it goes out to like Polaris and all these other, Onyx, all these companies that show these trails on a map, and then
Oh.
people, when we take the signage down and put up a closure sign, you know, it comes out of the maps also. And that's, like, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt you. I'm a landowner, and I own 900 acres in that area.
Okay.
And I have neighbors who asked me permission to close off the trails that cross my property that have no permission to be there. And that is nothing to do with the selectmen, nothing to do with calling you guys, it's just, you know, trying to take care of business.
Mm-hmm.
But there's more problems than just talking to the club, is what I'm trying to say.
Can we talk after the meeting?
Sure.
I'd love to chat with you for a few minutes. So just getting back to this, it's hard for us as law enforcement officers, especially like the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office, the Maine State Police, any agency that comes over to assist, even the district game warden, to know that there's a trail closure if we're not notified. And that's why these permissions are so important, and that's why Brett's working really hard to get the entire part of southern Maine mapped out, so that when there is a closure, we can all see it live,
Mhm.
so we'll know about it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so I know we spoke briefly, but could we hear about some of the complaints that are occurring down there that you know of?
Basically, it's the speed they're going,
Yeah,
and it's down the middle of the road, not left or right side.
yeah.
So if I'm walking the dog, I jump off to the side of the road. But if there's another car coming, they could be hit head on because of the speed they're going.
And,
That's my major complaint, is the speed.
okay. And does this occur more daytime, evening, weekends, weekdays?
Could be anytime.
Okay.
Well, weekends and anyway.
Yeah, more weekends than anything.
Okay. Yeah.
We have them going down the road, going at a high rate of speed, right on 107.
Okay.
I live down near the Merch Road and Wiggins Hill Road. The other thing is down near the end of 107, they've got the trail on the side of the road. The other night, we were coming home, and there was one that was coming to us, and there was like, it had the lights on the top, and then there was a car coming down the you know, towards us on the other side of the road. So it's like, okay, are they coming towards us or what?
Is this the access route that goes into, like Gilman Road?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and they stir up, sometimes they stir up so much dust that you can't even see, you know, going down the road.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, obviously the state tries to remain neutral, you know, when there's access routes that are allowed by municipalities, states, or towns. But sometimes, I understand what you're saying, it can create a dangerous situation. The measures we can take, obviously, to work on that, but when we don't know that there's issues going on, and it's not like, you know, we're not gonna knock on every door and ask
Right.
what the problems are, but issues like that, we wanna know about,
Yeah.
because they shouldn't be running extra auxiliary lights going down the road. They shouldn't be going at a speed that's creating dust, that's causing road hazards.
And I don't think that they should be on the road, you know. The other day I was out in the garden and there was a car going by and there was one of the 4x4s or side-by-sides, whatever you call them, that passed the car.
Wow.
You know, it's like,
Yeah, those are the exact issues we're looking for, so I'll make sure I give you one of my cards before we leave.
but, you know, and I always thought that there was only so many feet that they were supposed to be on the road. And I know part of the trail is shut down, part of the snowmobile trail behind my house is shut down because they don't want the four-wheelers or the four-wheelers, they just want snowmobiles
Mm.
on it, so.
Yeah, and there are some dual purpose trails in town, but then there are other landowners that
Mhm.
just want snowmobiles or, you know, foot recreation.
Yeah.
So, access routes serve a purpose, obviously, they get a club from point A to point B. But if it's not happening safely, we'll wanna know about it. You guys are our eyes and ears, so if you're having issues out there, pick up the phone and just call us. Call the state police dispatch number, non-emergency number, and just ask to speak with the game warden that's covering the area. Let us know. We have monies from ATV registration that we can do focus details on areas that are having issues, like that access route. You know, that access route is made for somebody to get from point A to point B, and it's not roads, they're not supposed to be passing cars, they shouldn't be running extra lights. And the problem is one or two people ruin it for everybody.
Right.
You know, so it's hard for us. If you're having issues, don't sit on it, call us. We'd rather get 100 phone calls and be able to catch one or two people that not know about it and find out there's a trail closure.
The other issue I have is the beach, of course. There's kids down there. Of course, we're getting in the off-season now, but in the summertime, it's busy.
Right. Okay. Do you guys have any questions?
So, Steve, how is it, can we find a map or something that lists the approved trails involved or believed to be approved trails?
So the short answer is yes, and you should be able to find it in two ways. One at the state level, which Brett has not finished this area yet. He's working on it, but he covers a huge area. And I don't think he has a lot left to do here. I know he's done some of the sites. I think he's finished the snowmobile trail. But we can get you a copy of that map when it's completed. And the club, generally, every club I've ever gone to has a map. Now, I haven't talked with this particular club yet because Brett was in contact with them, but I can find out and I can get you a copy of that.
Yeah. You mentioned Onyx, is it there? Is it?
I didn't look at Onyx this morning because I knew exactly where I was going when I had the address from, because of the Cumberland County deputies, thankfully. But,
They post, ATV trails?
so people can submit information. If there's a trail, you can submit it. But with like Polaris is great because whether it's a snowmobile app or their ATV app, it has to come from one person in the state of Maine. It has to be authorized by Department of Agriculture and Forestry, Parks and Rec. They have to authorize it for Polaris to put it in. They have to authorize it for Polaris to take it out also. Case in point, I was up north, up on Dodge Pond last winter. Snowmobiles were going down this logging road and it was driving, the water's crazy, we were gonna hit somebody. So I drove a couple hours to get up there, and the first snowmobile I stopped was like, I mean, there's 5 orange signs out, you know, trail closed logging. Nobody's looking at that, they're all looking at their GPS, and he's like, well, the trail's wide open, it's right here, and sure enough, it was. Within 20 minutes, Brett had that shut down, and I sat there for 2 days doing absolutely nothing. Couldn't believe I was still up there, it shut down that quick. Because when people aren't looking at those electronic devices, they're paying attention to signs. And it's a fact, it really is. So, these apps really do help.
Yeah. So, I guess for us, we wait for you to go get us something?
So what I'd like to do, with all your permission, is get with Brett, we'll get a hold of the club, talk more about these permissions, find out exactly where these trails are servicing, what their purposes are. I mean, obviously they're important trails because Brett said they're interconnecting trails. But then we want to go back and talk with the residents and find out what other issues are going on over there. And if we can come up with a solution, then we'll bring it back and propose it to you and see what we can do. That's also a snowmobile trail, isn't it? In the winter? Yeah. So it is a dual purpose trail. It is an important trail for people that are recreating correctly.
I'm just thinking that was not just that trail, but trails in general. As you said, that there's nothing officially in writing, as far as we know, that says somebody can use town roads or private roads for snowmobiles or ATVs, and it might be good to get them in writing.
Right. And that's so, circling back to your question, you were talking about 1,500 feet for an ATV. That is correct. If an ATV is going from crossing a bridge or connecting from one trail to another, they are allowed 1,500 feet on the immediate right-hand side of the road
but
obeying all laws.
they're not on the side of the
I
road.
completely agree. The only time they're allowed to, and this is what I was trying, this is my point, but the only time they're allowed to go further than 1,500 feet is if they have that access route. But the access route comes with a whole bunch of signage. You have to designate where it starts, what the conditions are, 5 miles an hour, no passing, stay to the right. Some towns require you to stay on the pavement, so whatever the conditions of use are for that access route, and then it has to be marked all the way to the end, and then it has to end, it has to terminate. So without that, it's not a legal access route. And I don't fault the clubs for not knowing this. This is sort of the new standard for the state. We want to know, if I'm driving 2 hours to go work an area on an ATV detail, I wanna know exactly what I'm allowed to do, as should somebody that's operating that ATV. If they're out on a public way, they know what they're allowed or what they're expected to do to get from point A to point B to get back on the trail.
And Judy, on the Calvin Road, on the other side, there are signs saying trail this way.
On the other end?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think once we finish that mapping, we can figure out, what proper signage needs to be there. That's part of Brett's job when he does his trail inspection. He's looking for washouts, hazards, low-hanging branches, making sure bridges are inspected, making sure they're not crossing through water, vernal pools or brooks or streams. And if the signs aren't properly signed, I've seen him literally walk into a town and shut them down. He'll give them notice. If they don't do it, he shuts that trail down. So.
Well, the town just fixed the road really good so you could drive on it.
And that's part of, I don't know if Brett has talked to you folks about the municipal grant. Have you heard about that?
No.
There's 2 different grants. So basically, when you register an ATV, money is set aside for clubs. And a portion of the money for the town of Baldwin goes back to these ATV clubs. And they have a very small pool of money to do trail maintenance. And, they're all volunteers, they all have jobs, they all have families. So you're trying to give them $4,000 to fix 30 miles of trail in the town of Baldwin on, at night or on their Sunday. And so the state's new approach to that is it's a municipal grant. Brett can explain it a lot better, but in a nutshell, the town, would be the holder of a check. So we would work with the club and with the town, get these people signed up, and then we would hire contractors to come in under the state of Maine's best maintenance practices and the landowner's wishes, and repair these trails that are deteriorating or ruining land, where there's roots exposed and all this. Get everything done, and if it costs $30,000, the state can't just hand a volunteer club a $30,000 check. They need to hand it to like the town, who would clear that check and then go ahead and give it.
Yeah, they wanted us to do something like that, but it sounded like the town is gonna be responsible for that.
There's no liability for the town. Obviously, if you kept the check, that would be an issue, but there's no liability as far as insurance goes. There's the cost to the town. You don't have to be involved, other than Brett authorizes a company, we'll say, trying to think who's around here. Shaw Brothers. We find somebody at Shaw Brothers, we hire them to fix 4 miles of trail. It costs $12,000. We hand you a check. Once they tell you the work's done, Brett will go out and inspect it and call you right up that day and say, it's good to go, hand them the check.
Yeah.
That's it.
So maybe this is a good idea to, keep line of communication open.
Absolutely.
Between you, us, and the landowners
Right.
in town, so maybe more public hearings or public meetings should be.
And this municipal grant is, in order to be eligible for it next year, I don't even think it would be due until June, so we could definitely do something over the winter, but I think it would help both clubs, and especially the landowners. These landowners are allowing 2,000-pound vehicles in some cases to go over their property, unlimited access, right? But they're not getting a reduction in their taxes, they're not getting a free hunting fishing license, they're not getting, reduced taxes, property taxes. They're literally just allowing this because they believe in recreation and what clubs used to be, and there comes a point where they feel like they're abused, and that's when a lot of land gets shut down.
Right.
So the state is trying to fix that by offering these municipal grants so we can go out and do large-scale work to the landowner's satisfaction and get the land back where it belongs, so they can drive their tractor out there and get their wood, or they can walk on the trails in the morning with their dog, whatever the uses are going to be. And a lot of landowners, I don't think, realize you can set conditions, just like the town could say, we want this trail to be 5 miles an hour. We can't enforce actual speed, but we can enforce, reckless operation or operating without due regard, that type of stuff. But landowners can do the same thing. If they don't want motorcycles on their land, or, they don't want bicycles for some reason, they can put that in as a condition.
Oh, yeah.
And then if somebody on an ATV is operating on that land, we'll say it's a motorcycle, they don't want dirt bikes out there. If we catch somebody out there, it's operating on land of another without permission. So the laws are already in place for us to be able to enforce that. Just like snowmobiles now. You can snowmobile break down through the woods in Maine, and it's not a violation. But the second we put up a sign because the landowner wants it, if they go off that trail, it's a violation.
Oh, yeah.
So, and we'll impound machines, ATVs, snowmobiles, whatever we have to make sure they're in compliance along with the ticket. We take this very serious. 94% of Maine is privately owned, and the state issues hunting, fishing licenses, ATV registrations, boat registrations to recreate on everybody's land. And this is sort of the answer the state's response to, hey, we need to make this right.
Yeah.
That's why all these opportunities are becoming available.
Yeah, I know in this town, we've lost a lot of recreation land, people post them, and I've noticed that going down 107, and there's a lot, so now we're losing recreational land.
I mean, and access routes are not ideal for us, for the Woodland Service.
Yeah.
Sometimes they are necessary to get from point A to point B.
Yeah.
But we like to keep people on trails where they belong so they can ride safely, And fortunately, we haven't had any major ATV vehicle crashes in this area.
Right.
But if we don't know about the issues, it's a matter of time.
Yeah.
So. Any other questions? So I plan on getting back with Brett, letting her know that we've opened up the line of communication. We'll talk with the clubs. We'll have more conversations with you and your neighbors, and then we'll come back to you folks and see what we can work on.
Okay, yeah, that sounds great.
And I'll just, and I have cards for you guys.
Oh, good.
I'm actually gonna put my cell phone number on here. If you have an emergency, just make sure you call dispatch.
Okay.
But if you have a land issue,
You said that's a state police non-emergency number.
yep,
Yep.
and obviously 911 is hers in the.
Oh, yeah. If there's an issue, yeah.
And so, here are my cards, you can pass those down. And I look forward to talking to you guys again.
Yeah.
If you have any issues at all, feel free to give a call, okay?
Yeah, thank you for coming out.
Thanks.
Thank you, Pat, for having to come out.
Yes, thank you.
I tell you, it wasn't easy contacting them. Nobody wanted to give out any numbers.
There's my cell phone number, call it.
All right, reminders coming up. No reminders till next week. All right, last thing, public questions. Don, you got anything?
Not a thing, thank you.
How's that? Joe?
Yeah, circling back to, TW Enterprises, I think that's Flying Squirrel, not the tree company
Oh,
that
okay.
you're talking about. There's like multiple companies he's had in here,
Okay.
a different one for each piece of land,
Oh.
and, the one with the Frisbee is Flying Squirrel.
Yeah, Flying Squirrel.
And
Okay.
I bring it up now because we gotta all get our heads straight on what it is.
Which one we're talking about here?
Yeah, exactly. And, a question I have, he has a conditional use permit for Flying Squirrel. And if this is something that would change the land use, then he probably should come in for a modification of his conditional use permit. I'm just throwing it out there.
Okay, yeah.
You know,
Thanks for bringing that up, because that wasn't in one of the conditions,
no.
Okay.
And so I throw it out there because you're saying you want a public hearing, and here's an opportunity to slide in a public hearing very conveniently.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
If you modify the CUP. That's all.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Kathy?
Attention Baldwin, town meeting is on September Saturday the 13th. On Monday, the 8th, at 7 p.m., the Brown Memorial Library will host Candidates Night. Come meet the candidates for office, ask questions about the warrants, come talk about where your money will be spent. East Baldwin, 113 by 107, at the Blinking Light. Selectmen will be there.
Yep. What time?
7 p.m.
The 8th.
The 8th, Monday. So, Robin, I'll try and email you a message so that you can put it on the website. Other than that, oh, we're good.
Mary,
No, I don't have anything, thank you for asking me.
you guys got anything else you wanna,
Just, what about the burn pit? Where are we on that one?
well, if he has one, he's still gonna be in trouble. So, right, Don?
Yeah. We've got another group sponsoring it for the second, I think, of
October 4th.
October 4th. So we're gonna see what we can do about that.
That'd still be violation. You
It's
can't have
still a
anything
violation.
down there, right?
That's right.
Yeah, he's gonna take donations for that one. He's not charging.
Really
just
doesn't matter.
donations.
He's trying to work around it.
It's been tried before.
He's a pretty slippery character.
He's slippery, I guess.
The fines will add up, however, it might be a good source of revenue. Keep that in mind.
We'll give it to the neighbors down there, just so for putting up with him.
That's for
Don't
sure.
buy any more generators.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Jack, you got anything?
You got somebody, pulling the buoys?
You.
I'm not the one out going to pull now.
You know what I did last year? I just grabbed on the end of it and I just pulled. I didn't get my feet wet.
Yeah,
That's all you gotta do.
you ain't gonna do it that way.
Why not?
They're all, I see how Emily,
There's that cement blocks out there, you can pull those in.
your pull was in there.
Yeah, I did it last year, all by myself.
Yeah, you got the little small ones.
He's strong.
You got the chimney ones now?
Huh?
You got the chimney
But
ones?
the
No, they're just
the
small
double-
ones.
The double
You
one?
can do, oh,
Small, that one.
I'm not going tomorrow, you know.
I don't know, we'll get them in somehow, but you can do it. Mary Ellen, you got it?
I'm just gonna follow up, have you found anything out about the decals on the side of the truck?
No, I haven't got, caught up with them about that. I'll get them. Anything else? Bruce?
All good. What I wanna know was that, he told me that before.
The generator?
I'm glad that's running.
All right, executive session, I move the board go into executive session pursuant to one MRSA section 405A, discuss personnel matters.
yeah, but,